Hello there, vinyl community. This is Tony from Two from the Trunk, coming back and deciding to jump into the fray once more. I was watching the Dillon from Nobel Records and his vinyl tag, the Quarantine Edition, where he gives out 20 questions and you're supposed to answer them as bestest as you can. And I decided again to jump in the fray and see how this turns out and have some fun with it. You answer 20 questions and come up with 20 answers. Hopefully they're good answers. Let's start off. Favorite record from your home state or city? Now, if you watch my other two videos, you know how I'm going to answer this. Peeling a Tangerine. These guys were local from my town, Latrobe, PA. Went to school with my wife. Taught this young man's son back in the day. Unfortunately, he's passed away. Peeling a Tangerine. You'll probably see this later on in the video to answer one of the questions. And you know, the second answer is going to be Tommy James and the Shondells. Now, Tommy James didn't come from my hometown. He came from Niles, Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. But the band that backed him up was from Latrobe, Pennsylvania. They became the Shondells. They used to be called the Raconteurs. And of course, you know, they had some good albums. One of the better ones. It's Tommy James. Have to give you a funny story about Tommy James here. The Shondells are still touring, but they go under the name of Crimson Blue Persuasion. And I had a chance to see them recently. And during one of their breaks from doing one of their sets, one of the musicians talked about Tommy James. And in 1970, Tommy James said, "Hey guys, I need a break. I need to get away from music for a little while. I'll call you when I'm ready to come back, but I just need a break." And he went on to say that they're still waiting for Tommy James to call them. And since then, Tommy James, of course, he's touring with another group called the Shondells. But the guys, Crystal Blue Persuasion, the Latrobe band, they're still running around from what I understand. So Tommy James and the Shondells. An album you highly recommend. I love this album. It's Spirit, the 12 Dreams of Dr. Sargonicus. It's a bifold there, gatefold, I'm sorry, gatefold. You can see that. There's the back. I guess they're drinking. That would have gone with you, Mazzy, and that idea of partying, drinking album. So Spirit. You might have heard some of the songs. Space Child. Nature's Way was the big one. Nature's Way. A lot of fun. I remember we were at a party one time and a young man was listening to him on a reel tour with a set of headphones and he was singing Nature's Way. And for the fun of it, we would hit the tape monitoring button. And, of course, the music would turn off and he would still be singing. I think adult beverages were definitely involved at that time. So, Spirit, if you ever get a chance, you can still get it for cheap. This is not an original. This is a reissue, by the way. Spirit. A tip for beginners. This might give some people time to pause, I guess. But don't give up on thrift stores if you're collecting. Now, I'm not a collector. I'm not an audiophile. I don't have a lot of albums. As a matter of fact, I got into it because I rediscovered the albums that I had sitting in a trunk for 30-some years that I purchased 50 years ago. And I decided to pull them out one day, and then I got right back into this, and that's why I'm here. But I'm not an audiophile. I'm not, you know, geez. I still use my receiver that I bought in 1975, the year before I got married. So, but thrift stores, don't give up on thrift stores. Now, CDs. Now, I know this is a vinyl tag, but I have to show you the CDs because there's a lot of them. These cost me 99 cents. Beach Boys' Greatest Hits. There is a Bob Dylan out of Time Out of Mind. Okay. I have The Doors' Greatest Hits. Paul Simon. Neil Diamond. Who else is here? Van Morrison. 99 cents. How could you pass that up? Now, I realize they don't have the jewel cases. I realize that. Yes, I know. But I think this was a DJ who gave up DJing and turned to a thrift store. But 99 cents, I'm more of a collector of music, I guess, than a collector of LPs. But anything. And later on, I'll show you another find that I got later on here. So don't give up on thrift stores. When we get back to them, they're still a good place. You have to do a lot of hunting. But that's the fun part, I guess, if you're going to be a collector. I find that fun to do. Okay, where do we go here? First record that really got you deeper into music. Vanilla Fudge. You Keep Me Hanging On. Now, again, this was in the 60s. Underground music, as we call it here in the East Coast. Mazzy, they called it psych music, psychedelic. I guess we called it psychedelic too, back in the 60s. I'm a couple of years older than Mazzy, but he has more experience in music than I have. And he talked about this album once or twice, the Vanilla Fudge. And You Keep Me Hanging On. I brought this home, and I loved every second of this album. And I played it a lot, and I wore it out. And my parents were probably tired of hearing it, too. They weren't too fond of that kind of music. Time out here. My computer went south here for a little bit. There you go. Okay. An obscure record people may not know about. I'm going back to Peeling a Tangerine. These guys, one album. If any of you have one of these, show it. I went to Discogs just for curiosity. And oddly enough, this was even reissued in Europe. It was reissued. I think it went for like $200. So I know. So, try to find it. Who knows what it is? But it's obscure. It was a band from the, I think it was 1970, 71 they put that out. A group you try to collect. I'm not a collector, but I bought a lot of the albums. I like Three Dog Night. I really, really like them. I don't know if you do or not. I have a lot of their albums. I don't have all the albums, but I have some. I like them. There was a time when I was dating my wife, I believe she might have even purchased a few of these as we were dating or early marriage back in the day. So Three Dog Night is one of the bands that I have the most of. A band whose second album is better than their first. Now, I have a band that their fifth album, I think, is better than their first. Now, this is Mr. Fantasy by Traffic. I believe this is their first album. You can see that. Crazy artwork that they have in here. But I like the album. Don't get me wrong, I like the album very, very, very much. But I think I like this one better. And Low Spark of High Heel Boys. Listen to this a lot too. The band in the back. Played this a lot. But I think it's better than the first one they had. So I'm sorry if it's not the second one or the first one, but it's the fifth in the second one. Okay. What a band, little show and tell a whack-a-mole. Okay. I'll show you that my albums are over here. There's a bunch of them here. I'm not going to move the camera because I'm not that smart. So I will get an album and I'll pull it out and we'll talk about the Eagles. I believe this is probably one of their better selling albums off of Asylum Records. There it is. Just called the Eagles. If I'm not mistaken, they were the backup band at one time. Mazzy would probably straighten me out on this for Linda Ronstadt. And they went out on their own, and from what I understand, she was very helpful in promoting them as a band. But the Eagles, Take It Easy, Witchy Woman, Early Bird, Peaceful, Easy Feeling. You can't go wrong with this album. There they are, the guys in the back. But used to be a backup band for Linda Ronstadt, if I'm not mistaken. What album have you listened to most of your life? I play this all the time. Play it all the time. Easy Rider, Peter Fonda, Dennis Hopper, and when you're young and you get your albums, you usually put your name on it But I know that drives you collectors crazy, but hey, it was mine. I'm surprised it's not worn out. You know, the Jack Nicholson, a young Jack Nicholson, Karen Black, Dennis Hopper. Funny story, I went with a good friend of mine to see the movie. And at the end, he was so mad at the end of the movie, he stood up. Now, this is a crowded theater. He stood up and started swearing at the screen and yelling and just got really mad and left. Easy Rider. Play it all the time. It's got a lot of songs. You know, I guess it's the first rock score for a movie, would you say? I don't know. I would think. Good stuff. Jimi Hendrix on there. The Wait. What album? Show an album with a crazy story. And it has to be this album right here. A lot of you know it's the Who by the Numbers. And here's the back of it. Now, I bought this album, and one night in total craziness, I took a pen and I followed the lines to see if it would really work. And it did. And then it says here, John Entwistle, so I signed my name, lines by me, Tony P. It was an don't get mad at me, all you people collect that, but it was the main moment of craziness. I filled in the lines. What can I tell you? That's what I did. An album, you're collecting pet peeve. My collecting pet peeves is, and it's a pet peeve and not a pet peeve. I don't know. It's just what happens if you do a lot of thrift getting of albums. You got to remember, I'm an old retired teacher. I don't have a lot of money. I'm so poor I can't even pay attention. Okay, but you go to the thrift store, and I go right to the 99-cent dollar bin. That's the first place I go to because I always find a little gem that I might like. Maybe somebody else might not like it, but I like it. And I found in there Seals and Croft, Diamond Girl. And in the 70s, they were an item in the 70s. You know, they were a good duo there. That's Seals and Croft, Diamond Girl. If you don't, find it, play it. It's a really, really great album. And when you look at them, and I even pulled the record out. I pulled the record out and I checked the vinyl, and it was pretty good. Vinyl was pretty good on this baby. For 99 cents, it was nice. I mean, it had some scuffs, but plays well. I took it home, and I noticed that the songs did not match what was on the album cover. Then I took the album off, and it says, Seals and Croft's Greatest Hits. So I won, in a sense. I was lucky. I got the greatest hits instead of just Diamond Girl. But somewhere in this universe, there is a guy who has Seals and Croft's Greatest Hits. And he now has Diamond Girl. And he's going to be very, very unhappy. So whoever you are, I got it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's see here. What else do we have here? An album or genre people would be surprised to know that you like. All right. I like classical music. This was ingrained in me by my parents. They came to this country 1949, 1950 from Europe, and they liked classical music. And when we got our first stereo, they found these. That's 75 masterpieces. This really plays well, not bad. And of course the other little snippets of music. Tchaikovsky, a little Beethoven, a little bit of Verdi, so on. A little bit Peer Gynt is in there from Edvard Grieg. Little snippets of operas. La Bohème. My dad loved this. La Tosca, Puccini's Tosca. I'm sorry. Maria Callas on the picture. Those of you, was she not Aristotle Onassis' daughter? Maria Callas? I think she was. Okay, so a little bit of that. My dad loved that. This is my dad's favorite album right here. Forza del Destino. Used to play it all the time. He could sing to it. My dad was pretty good. My dad was he could sing. And this is the other one of the 75 masterpieces. There was two volumes of it. Carlos Montoya, flamenco guitar. Brought flamenco to the United States after World War II from Spain. Now, he had his own style of flamenco guitaring. Some of the purists didn't like it, but he was excellent. Carlos Montoya, flamenco guitar. If you get a chance for this one, this is a good one. RCA Victor. Oh, it's in orthophonic, high fidelity. So in case you have an orthophonic stereo, you're in. Show a record from the year you were born. I had one of those wax cylinders, and I dropped it. So I can't give you anything from the year I was born. I'm sorry. Joking. Share an interesting, I said that already. Show a 10-inch record or share your opinion on 10-inch records. I have no opinion of 10-inch records, nor do I own any. If you like 10-inch records, God bless you. May the force be with you. Nanu, nanu. I have, that's fine. But I just don't buy them. I like albums. Share an interesting fact about an album or song. Rod Stewart, Footloose and Fancy Free. That's a young Rod you see on there, boys and girls. Footloose and Fancy Free. He does a version of You Keep Me Hanging On. Remember Vanilla Fudge from before? It's really good. He does a nice job with it. But I just thought I'd toss that out to you. He did a cover of a cover of a cover. So, does a nice job. You Keep Me Hanging On. Rod Stewart. Show an album with an animal on the cover. I play this album a lot too. Dog. Neil Diamond. Oh, I did this yesterday too. Neil Young. It's not Neil Diamond. It's Neil Young. I promise you. I know that. I know better. Crazy Horse. Everybody knows this is Nowhere. Okay. A little bit of the inside. Dog again. Little Neil down here. Back of the album. Cowgirl on the Sand. Some really good stuff. Cinnamon Girl. Everybody knows this is Nowhere. The Losing End. What a great song. A buddy of mine, another buddy of mine, we were in a little, I used to call them the 3-chord bands. And he could sing this stuff. He was really, really good. And we used to sing Losing End. No, I will not sing it now. Well, maybe I have a guitar. No, we won't do that now. Show an album with crazy artwork. Hollies. The Distant Light. This is the cover. You can see that without the glare. And if you turn it upside down, you see there's a lot of crazy things. There's a guy, somebody swallowing a fish, swallowing things in air, and gold coins, and etc., etc., etc. So crazy artwork. Hollies, Distant Light. That's another great album too. Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress. One of the hits. Show a really good album that you can still find for cheap. I feel a little bit terrible about this because sometimes I think Linda Ronstadt doesn't get a lot of love on VC. I don't see too many things about her, and I think she's a great artist. What vocal range? Unfortunately, of course, we know that she's not feeling well. But 99 cents, thrift store. The vinyl, cover. Look at that. Look how great that is. The vinyl is pristine. 99 cents. Probably one of her better albums. I like it. I think a long time ago I might have even owned it with an 8-track. Yeah, I had an 8-track. I probably had more 8-tracks than anything. Show an album with an acquired taste. Blood Rock. They're not too bad. I kind of like them. They the band, I think, floated around from group to group, if I'm not mistaken. But Blood Rock, a little bit of rock psychedelic, maybe a little bit of funk in there. Boy, I can frame myself in there. Blood Rock, acquired taste. I don't know. I think I don't see that too much too out there out in the wild. But Blood Rock. Show your recent find. I have to go back to the thrift store things, and this is a recent find. I went to a thrift store, a local thrift store, and I went back to their album section, and I looked down, and I see this album. Of course, you know, this is the Moody Blues. I think this is 1967. I do not think this is a reissue. I think this is the real deal. Still in cellophane. The vinyl, I'm not going to pull it out and show you stuff. The vinyl is perfect. Perfect. Okay. Then I picked this one up, and underneath it was this one. Moody Blues again. Now, I had this album in high school. I don't know what the heck happened to it. It done disappeared. Perfect. Underneath it was this. Another Moody Blues album. I think this is the present to the Moody Blues. It's the gatefold there. I hope I'm not reflecting. Polygram. This is 1983. I'm sure the original members are not in this one. Okay. Great artwork. We should use that one for the artwork. Okay. Underneath it was another Moody Blues. Underneath it was another Moody Blues. Again, I'm not going to take these all out for you. I don't want this video to go much longer than what it is. Underneath it, another Moody Blues. I'm sorry, another Moody Blues. Gatefold, Moody Blues. Pristine shape, pristine. And this, of course, this is my album of the Moody Blues. Gatefold. I did not buy this at the thrift store. I bought this somewhere. But they're pristine. But those are my recent finds. So there you have it. There's my 20 answers to the vinyl quarantine edition, vinyl tag. If you like what you saw, I don't know, again, how much longer I'll do this, but it's a lot of fun so far. If you do, please like, please subscribe. I appreciate it. This is Tony. Peace out. Love and rock and roll. God bless you. May the force be with you.